I'm not gonna lie, bro, like, last time I made a farm this now video, the game was weak. I'm not gonna lie, bro, like, I put y'all on some weak game, but like, I might have actually found the method this time. So if you want to know how to get infinite hogs, true hogs, skill boxes, and basically everything else in the game, just lock in. Let's get into the content, chat. The only thing I forgot to tell you to subscribe, because you know, that button's right there, bro. Like, just press it. So Type Soldier's updated, and I can't lie, bro, W update. A few new Shikais, a couple new shrifts, and even some accessories. The code was awful, but you know, we can look past that. Don't let it happen again though. But amidst the sea of other cool content, I think people seem to forget about the new boss rush mode that they just added. If you guys are like me and you can't read, you may have missed over in the patch notes that they added a new boss rush game mode. Basically, by talking to Urahara, an NPC who's pretty close to the bank NPC, you and 2 friends can challenge a boss. Now there may be more, but from what me and my friends tested, there were 3 bosses. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, these bosses are all not made equal. Some are most definitely harder than others. And I'll get into that later. Because before we talk about the bosses that you're gonna fight, we're gonna talk about the potential rewards. And I'm gonna tell you right now, these rewards are absolutely insane. Before all my friends got off, we ran it a few times, and in the 4 runs we did, I got 3 true hogs in a skill box. Before I joined my friend, he did a run by himself, and he managed to get a true hog fragment. This is the only piece we managed to find a picture of, but the gear from this is also insane. Like stat-wise, I can't think of a single piece of gear in the game better than this. Keep in mind, this drop is only from 1 boss, and there's confirmed to be 3 more. So just imagine the stats on those pieces. But now that you know what you can get, let's introduce you guys to the bosses. But before we get into that, I want to talk about potential build recommendations for taking this on. If you've seen the background footage, my team brought a healer, and this helped, like, tremendously. These bosses like chunk you down like crazy, so having a healer and another player you can swap out with is massive. I would also recommend Hakata, or like basically anything with true combos, because they will parry a lot, and anything where you can just do a lot of damage really quick before they can react is super strong against them. But without further ado, the bosses. The first boss is Min Stark, and based by the name, you can probably tell that this boss uses Stark res. This boss is pretty generic. He has Stark's moves, Sunito Cleave, Sarah Corazon, and Wolves. The fun twist is he can use Wolves mid-combo and just kinda, you know, ruin your day. The boss also has access to speed and Kendo's skill box moves, which is pretty fun to fight. It also has 2 exclusive moves that only this boss has. The first exclusive move is a slash into an air Sero, where the boss will use an unblockable slash, which knocks you backwards, and then teleport in the air and use a Sero on you downwards. It does pretty good damage if it hits, but it does tend to miss a lot of the time, and you can also hit stun him out of it pretty often. With all of the bosses, once they hit 50%, they'll use their respective mode. And with Min Stark, they use Stark Resurrection. Thank God they don't have Segunda. Here's a really fun fact about Min Stark when they use res. They can use Sero Mozzarella, or whatever it's called. And because it's an NPC, they will track onto you. And if you're in kill range, it will kill you. Which is actually pretty unfair, because you can't cancel it. But you know, they had to make these bosses hard somehow. I'm not gonna lie, bro, like, once they put a mode, like, just M1, use your moves and pray, because there's really not much you can do if you're solo. And if you're with people, low-key just have one person tank the Sero Mozzarella, and then you can just switch out until they're dead. Wham bam, thank you ma'am, pretty easy boss. Not really though. The second boss up is the head captain. And I'm just gonna tell you right away before like I get into the details, this boss is some bullshit. I'm not gonna lie, bro, like, if you get head captain, probably just go back to KT and run it back. Nothing about this boss is fair. Even with 3 people and a healer, we struggled. I think we only beat it once. Just don't fight this boss. But if for some reason you do want to fight it, I'll tell you what it does. I'm not gonna lie, bro, like, I can barely describe what the boss did, because every time it touched me, I just died instantly, but I'll try to give you the best description that I can. Like the first boss, this boss has access to both Kendo and speed skill box moves. But unlike the first boss, this boss uses Ice Shikai, and with that it has a few extra moves. One being where the boss just stabs the ground and does like a bar immediately. It also has a little Ice Shuriken Shikai move. The only other move in base that I could discern was a vanish into a teleport. Notice I said in base because similar to the previous boss, this boss also pops mode once they hit 50% health. And I'm not gonna lie, bro, like, once this boss pops mode, you're not gonna win. The boss gets access to, you know, the Ice Bonkai moves, which are already pretty overpowered, being a massive AoE freeze and a bunch of like ice slashes that do not a fair amount of damage. But the boss also retains its previous moves, so those will, you know, catch you if you're not paying attention. Like I said, like, if you get this boss, you're better off logging, but like, you can fight it if you want. Now, for those of you who stuck around to the end of this video, it's time for me to put y'all on game, because I'm about to tell y'all the infinite skill box, infinite hog, infinite true hog method right now. And that method is this final boss. The final boss is called the Resting Almighty, and it's basically just Yuha. But funny enough, for being like the strongest character in Bleach, this boss is by far the easiest. Like the other bosses, this boss has access to skill box moves, nothing new, as well as other standard kendo and speed moves. But what's different about this boss is that the custom moves it has aren't really that strong. The first is a big like AoE attack that just makes you kneel down. He doesn't actually do that much damage, and he doesn't really punish you that much after he lands it. And his second custom move is essentially just the Vol standing trial, but it does a lot less damage. Like barely anything at all. You can also just block it. You can just hold F, it does like no posture damage at all. You can also just swing through it and just damage him, get free damage. Not to mention that the boss's weapon has a custom crit that he misses half the time and it just launches him away from you, which just gives you extra time to breathe. His M1s are also pretty slow, so you'll just find yourself catching him pretty often. Like the other bosses, when this boss gets to half, he'll pop his Vol Stern dish. And I'm not gonna lie, I think this boss is unfinished because he doesn't get any new moves. Sure, he does like a little bit more damage, but he's the same. Like, this is the only boss where I can say like with confidence, there is no difference between res and no res. You will kill him either way. Especially with friends, this boss is a piece of cake. Before the video ends, I'm gonna give a few tips and tricks for farming. Don't do this solo. Bring 2 friends. Bring a healer. Like, you will only gain from bringing people. You all got rewards. It's not like you're sharing the rewards. You all get stuff. Bring friends. The second tip I'm gonna give is if you brought friends, which, listen to tip 1. Essentially, for this activity, communication is extremely important. All of these bosses do a lot of damage and can 100-0 you pretty quickly. Even bum-ass Yuha can like blitz you down if you're not paying attention, so make sure you tell your teammates how much health you have. What we found was 50% was the best HP to tell people to like switch out. We chose this because for the Stark boss and also the Ice boss, 50% is basically the kill zone. My final tip is just farm this as much as possible because I don't think Yuha is like, there's no way it's intended to be this easy. So, get in there, get your almighty cloak, and happy farming, chat. That's if your walk isn't bugged though, which, 50-50 chance. And low key, bro, if he is bugged, that's just a W for everybody in my opinion. And that's all the more reason why you, yes you, watching this YouTube video should get in there and farm this right now before it maybe does get patched. Even if your walk is working as intended, the loot from this could get nerfed because of just how farmable it actually is if you know what you're doing. So when I say farm this now, I mean farm this now because I don't think there's a better farm for any other resource in the game than this. Not to mention that while you're farming for your hogs and skill boxes, you might just get one of the best pieces of armor in the game. In terms of time investment versus rewards, this is quite literally the best farm in the game. And if you're not farming it, you're trolling, you're inting, like you're throwing, you're running it down bottom, like stop selling my team, bro. No ADC. That's enough of me yapping though, If y'all, like the Type Soul content and you want to see more, like, comment, subscribe, and that lets me know that, you like the Type Soul. So, peace out and I'll see y'all later, chat.